I want to welcome everyone to East Hampton today. We're very excited about this momentum occasion. I'm Peter Van Scoik, the town supervisor. On behalf of the town, welcome. We have many special guests and elected officials today that I would like to acknowledge, so please hold your applause to the end. Senators Todd Kaminsky, Jim Gowron, John Brooks, Assemblymen Fred Thiel, Steve Engelbright, Chuck Levine, and Keith Brown, and Jody Giglio. Suffolk County Legislator Bridget Fleming, Southampton Village Mayor Jesse Warren, East Hampton Town Council members Kathy Burt-Gonzalez, David Lease, Sylvia Overby, Kate Rogers, East Hampton Town Trustees Francis Bach, Ben Dollinger, Jim Grimes, Mike Martinson, Susan McGraw-Keeber, David Cataletto, John Aldridge, Tim Garneau, Bill Taylor. Representatives from the Shinnecock Nation, Jermaine Smith, John Nader, President of Farmingdale State College, Lisa Black, Chief Deputy County Executive for Suffolk County, Matty Erich, President Nassau Suffolk Building Trades, John Durso, President Long Island Federation of Labor, and all our friends from labor who are with us today. We're very pleased to have you all here on this momentous occasion. In East Hampton here in 2014, we were the first municipality in New York State to adopt a 100% renewable energy goal. We have since installed a multitude of electric charging stations for vehicles, transitioning our fleet from gas to electric ones. We built the first megawatt solar farm here on the South Fork, the first town in New York State to install a municipal solar battery storage system, creating resiliency and energy savings for our town hall campus. Today, we gather to celebrate New York State's first offshore wind, which will bring East Hampton within reach of our 100% renewable energy goal. East Hampton is working to do its part to meet our renewable energy goals and to address climate change, but we can't do it alone. It takes leadership with a strong commitment to the cause. It takes leadership that is willing to take bold steps to bring meaningful change. Please join me in welcoming such a leader, New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. What a glorious day here in the town of East Hampton. And first of all, Supervisor, I want to thank you and your entire community's leadership, not just now, but for generations. East Hampton has been leading the way and showing other municipalities throughout our state and indeed the nation that the local governments are where the action is, where the visions can be formulated and executed when you work not just with local governments, but also partnerships with the state and federal government, as we're seeing here today. So everyone from East Hampton, Long Island, you are the first. It's always great to be first. Congratulations. I spent a little time in local government, 14 years in local government, so I know the winds of fortune change, and it's an opportunity to really just put action in your words into action, and that's what this project is all about. Not just talking about elusive goals or goals we may hit someday when we're all long gone, which are really easy to set forth. Yeah, in 2050 we'll do this. Who's going to be around in 2050? I'm not sure anymore. But that being said, you had concrete goals that you're going to be achieving, and we're really proud to be able to work with you. So, Supervisor, thank you. But also, I mentioned federal partnerships. This new administration, which has only been in office just over a year, has really put the focus back where it should have been all along, and that is on climate resiliency, fighting climate change, as well as supporting local governments as we transition to a new energy future, and in the meantime, creating thousands of jobs. And President Biden was very smart in selecting a woman who is known, and it's an incredible, well, just a woman overall, is what you're saying. a woman who has lived a life full of passion and advocacy and making sure that the voices of all are heard, and that in a position as Secretary of Interior, you can use that platform to help lift up people all over this nation. And I'm so proud of the work that the Department of Energy has done under our great Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. I want to thank her for joining us, Secretary of Interior Haaland. We're a little partial to that department as well, because one of our own, former Assistant Secretary for Energy, Amanda Lifkin, has joined as the Director of the Bureau of Ocean Energy and Management. I want to thank Amanda. I feel like wherever Amanda goes, New York is in the house, and that's a good thing for all of us. So thank you, Amanda, and all of our great partners. They were mentioned, but also our state officials who I work very closely with. I want to thank them for always bringing these issues to the conversation in Albany. Thank you. And also to our friends in labor. You mentioned Matty Arasich, who's been, I don't think I've ever sat down once with Matty when he didn't talk about the clean energy future. So to Matty and John Durso, the Long Island Federation of Labor, and Ed Hill and Frank Murray and Pat Judas, so many others who have been involved in this, Roger Clayman. These are the names of people that you're going to be talking about for years and say, yes, they were there at the very beginning. They believed, and they made sure that there was a workforce that was trained and ready to step into these jobs, which are going to be spectacular. And I want to thank all of them for what they do as well, and all of our friends at the operating engineers, Bill Duffy as well. I hope I didn't miss anybody. IBW is in the house as well. So I also have another dream team I want you to hear about. This cross-pollination among agencies doesn't always happen with ease, but it takes the personalities and the individuals who are so committed in their positions as cabinet members. And I want to thank people like Doreen Harris, the head of NYSERDA, Basil Sagos, our Commissioner of DEC, Roberta Reardon, our Commissioner of Department of Labor. This is the dream team. Jeanette Moy, our newly appointed Commissioner of OGS, Rory Christian, our Commissioner of Public Service Commission, and Robert Rodriguez, our Secretary of State, all working together. And Empire State Development, our soon-to-be approved by the legislature, Kevin Law, who knows Long Island like nobody does. He'll be soon to be the chair of Empire State Development. So, anybody we didn't mention here yet? Okay, I think we got a lot of you. But I feel the energy, and what we're here to do is to say we're going to break ground. We're going to break ground on the South Fork Wind Farm. Our state's, this is New York State's very first offshore wind project. It's happening right now, right today, and this is the future, ladies and gentlemen. You are seeing the future unfold before our eyes, and this is exciting. And if you ask what the energy future looks like, I say, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Sorry, Bob Dylan, had to do that. So this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Think about, we're going to have 9,000 megawatts that'll supply 30% of New York State's electricity needs. That's 6 million homes. We have the most ambitious renewable energy plan, not in the state, the nation, and I'm going to put a challenge out to the rest of the world. We're coming after you. We believe in this. This is our future, and we are very bold and ambitious here. So this project is going to help us unlock the future, and part of this comes from our $500 million of proposed spending in our state budget. I know the legislators are very excited about this as well, and that'll help us build that offshore wind energy infrastructure. You can't just declare that you're going to have offshore wind. There's a whole ecosystem and supply chain that has to be part of this, and part of that is training the workforce. And again, Roberta Reardon and working with the Empire State Development and DOL, the collaboration that is going to occur is going to make sure that there are plenty of individuals representing a very diverse workforce. This is what I want to make sure we see happen, that we lift people up in communities that have been not having the same opportunities, communities of color in particular, and also individuals who've just been left on the sidelines. And I want to see more women in these jobs. I go to work sites all over, and I know the labor unions want to see this happen as well. This has to be intentional. This has to be intentional, to go into the schools and talk to the young people, particularly the girls, and say, listen, this is so exciting. This is something that your parents never would have dreamed of, but this opportunity lies before you right here and right now, and you can help lead the way into this future. And we're going to be so aggressive and ambitious about this. These projects as well as some other. We just also finalized 2 contracts for additional offshore wind projects. Empire Wind 2, which will be operational in 2027, Beacon Wind, operational in 2028. Together, those 2 projects will power 1.3 million homes and usher in nearly $9 billion in economic activity. So we're going to continue all of our partnerships here, but this one is extraordinary because there's nothing like being the first. And I want to thank the people who really, truly believed in this, and our friends at Ørsted and Eversource, David Hardy and Joe Nolan, and others who are part of those companies. Let's give them a round of applause. And once again, to this community, you're going to have this opportunity to meet your own energy goals, but your energy goals are aligned with our energy goals. And we're going to be able to point to what happened here in East Hampton and say to other communities, yes, it can be done. You put your minds to it. You work with the community. You get this over the finish line because overall, we'll benefit from this tremendous investment. So this one project will generate enough clean, renewable energy to power 70,000 homes every single year and eliminate up to 6 million tons of carbon emissions over the next 25 years. That's the equivalent. That's the same as taking 60,000 cars off the road. How about that for a metric that we're very proud of? So again, we're going to continue. We're going to see us out here much more often with shovels in our hands. This is just the beginning. I'm pretty good at that. My lieutenant governor thinks he's going to be better than me. We'll have a shoveling competition one of these days, and Sue who's better at that. We work very closely together, and I do want to thank my lieutenant governor, Brian Benjamin, for all he does as well. But this is a great day. This is a great day. And we're going to continue leaning into our objectives. You're going to hear from some people as well, but I just want to say I am so energized by what we're doing here today to really lean into the clean energy future. It lies before us. The possibilities are absolutely endless, and it all began here. So today, we mark a new beginning. In the future, you're going to look back, and you won't see these off on the horizon. We made sure of that, actually, that you will not see these 35 miles off on the horizon. But unlike here, I actually see this right outside my window in Buffalo. And to see a transformation, which is unbelievable, on the site of the former steel plant where my grandpa and my uncles and my dad worked, is now the site of onshore wind. I see the turbines spinning, and it is a beautiful sight to see how a community can reimagine itself, just as we're doing right here off the shore of Long Island. So I know that in partnership with the Department of Interior, Secretary Haaland, we made some other announcements that you're going to continue to talk about. We did a call with Phil Murphy to talk about the BITE and our opportunities there. So this is a collaboration, not just with local governments, but also with other states as well. So I'm excited. Can you tell I'm excited? This is fantastic. So with that, let me introduce our great Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'd first like to acknowledge that we are on the ancestral homelands of the Shinnecock Nation, and thank you for, very grateful, very grateful for the opportunity to speak here and be with all of you. And thank you very much for your generous comments about the Department of the Interior, Governor Hochul, and I do want to, again, just let all of you know, the best team in the world there, and always want to lift up Amanda Lefton, the director of BOEM, who all of you know has been a terrific partner, and we're very grateful. And yes, we have a really big team of women there, so that's always good. Thank you. So it's really wonderful to be here to celebrate a historic milestone today and break ground on the South Fork project. And I know we're breaking ground here, but it's really going to get big. Today marks another momentous step in our work to create a robust and sustainable clean energy future. I'm particularly excited to be here with Governor Hochul, the Long Island Power Authority, and members of the Interior team. New York has long been a leader in advancing offshore wind by joining with us to establish the most ambitious offshore wind goals in the nation. You have helped create the current excitement in the market that we have today. And now that dedication and leadership is paying off as we gather to celebrate that our shared goals are becoming a reality. The South Fork Wind Project will deliver 130 megawatts of wind energy right here to Long Island. That's enough to power more than 70,000 homes and businesses. This project and others like it will promote the development of a robust domestic U.S. supply chain of offshore wind while ensuring that these projects create good paying union jobs. And you can applaud for that. And the best part of that is that we're just getting started. The South Fork Wind Project and all of the Interior Department's progress on offshore wind will contribute to the Biden-Harris administration's goal of generating 30 gigawatts of offshore wind power by 2030, and to New York's renewable energy procurement goals of 9 gigawatts by 2035. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that these goals are ambitious, but they're absolutely necessary, and we can meet them. At each step, we're thinking about the communities who disproportionately bear the burdens of climate change and pollution, as well as the communities who rely on the ocean for their livelihoods and cultural identity. We're also working to build confidence in the domestic supply chain, and we're already seeing significant investments from our efforts. Some of that activity is happening right here. A facility on Long Island is slated to become an operations and maintenance hub, and plans are underway to make Port Jefferson Harbor the home port of Jones Act service vessel. Another project is the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal, which will be transformed into an offshore wind turbine staging facility and operations and maintenance hub. These investments are a result of the leadership New York has demonstrated on offshore wind. It's also further proof that America's clean energy transition is not a dream for a distant future. It's happening right here, and it's happening right now. We are moving forward with incredible speed because we can't delay. The climate crisis demands our immediate attention, and that's why President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law is such a historic and monumental moment in this nation's efforts to protect our lands and waters. It recognizes that in order to keep our planet livable for future generations, we must get to a net zero economy and make robust investments in sustainable economies, clean energy, and climate resilience. As we break ground today, I'm honored to take this crucial and symbolic step forward. Working together, we can take the bold actions required to address climate change and help create a cleaner, more equitable energy future for our children, for our grandchildren, and for many future generations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for your incredible support and your excitement about this project. Next, I'd like to introduce David Hardy, CEO of Ørsted Offshore North America. Thank you all so much.
Good morning, everybody. I have to say before I get into my formal remarks that this is a really emotional day for me. Ørsted, which I'll talk about a little bit more, our transformation story and kind of our value system as a company, but we're now transitioning from 7 years worth of work that's been PowerPoint and Excel and Word documents and lab reports and environmental surveys to actually moving dirt. And while this is a little bit of a staged moving dirt, we've actually started work. Joe's team has started work already in the last couple weeks to move real dirt. And so this is just so emotional for me that as we transition from kind of a dream about what offshore wind could be to the reality of building projects, I can't tell you how passionate I am. And I'm a businessman, and I probably have that label for all of you guys, but I'm also a true believer in what we're doing here, not just for the benefits of green energy for the United States, but also for the platform that offshore wind can create with respect to environmental justice and job creation and middle-class wages and local supply chain development and infrastructure development. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be part of an industry that can create so much value for this country. So it's an honor to be here in East Hampton with Secretary Haaland, Governor Hochul, and with Joe Nolan, CEO of Eversource and our joint venture partner in this project, and so many supporters and champions of this project who have worked and waited for so long for this moment. I'm David Hardy. I'm the CEO of Ørsted Offshore North America, and we're here today to celebrate the start of construction. Sorry, I'm too tall for this podium. We're here to celebrate the start of construction of this historic project, New York's first offshore wind farm. But in recognizing this milestone for New York and the United States, we also need to celebrate the leadership from the Biden administration, the New York State, and from Long Island, and from so many others that have made today possible. Your steady and persistent leadership helps Ørsted deliver on our vision of a world that runs entirely on green energy, and it's within reach because of the people in this room. I'm proud to say that Ørsted is a global leader in offshore wind and is recognized as the world's most sustainable energy company. But that wasn't always the case. Through the mid-2000s, we were a fossil fuel company, one of Europe's most coal-intensive energy companies. And at that time, we faced a reckoning. Should we continue our fossil fuel-intensive business or be a first mover committed entirely to renewable energy and a tool to combat climate change? And I like to say that, and it wasn't me, I've only been with Ørsted for 2 years now, but Ørsted is the Tesla. What Tesla is to electric vehicles, Ørsted is to offshore wind. And it's something that looks kind of like smart that we did this now, but 10, 12 years ago, it was pretty ambitious, I have to say. And so really kudos to those leaders at the time that made that choice. So we chose the latter, and today we're a global leader in clean energy, and we're on track to become a carbon neutral company, including throughout our supply chain, all the scopes by 2025. And that's just 3 years from now. But we aren't the only ones who have seen that urgent moment and committed to making change. The United States government has recognized its own need for transformation. President Biden has set a goal of 30 gigawatts of offshore wind energy by 2030. Secretary Haaland and Director Lefton, through their leadership of the Department of Interior and BOEM, are manifesting that goal through rigorous and thoughtful federal reviews and focus on moving these projects forward. New York has recognized its own need to transform. Governor Hochul recently announced $500 million investment in offshore wind tied to the next RFP that I expect from Doreen here soon. $500 million investment in offshore wind to make this state the offshore wind capital of America. And NYSERDA and Doreen Harris have been active leading the development of New York State's nation-leading offshore wind goals, 9,000 megawatts, which has already been said, which is the largest ambition in the country. And Tom Falcone, the CEO of LIPA, chose a cutting-edge solution in offshore wind when the project was awarded back in 2016. So a lot of leadership here in the state of New York. And locally, East Hampton has recognized its own need for transformation. Perhaps no one understands the urgency of action to combat climate change more than coastal communities. And Supervisor Van Scoyoc and residents of this town have committed to make a tremendous progress towards the 100% renewable energy goal for the community, and ambition with immense support from Suffolk County Executive Steve Bellone. And there are many, many other advocates and organizations and leaders who have recognized the urgency of energy transformation and championed clean energy projects like this one. Leaders like Adriana Esposito, Kevin Law, Roger Clayman, John Durso, Gary LaBarba, Maddie Ersich, Julie Tai, who's here, Matt Cohen, Jordan Rocky, Judith Hope, and many champions who have compromised a coalition of support made for the project, make this project possible. Thank you all for your energy, commitment, and your passion to getting us to where we are today. In the U.S., the new energy future doesn't just mean green electrons, it means jobs. A new era of manufacturing, investments in our maritime infrastructure and industry, strong partnerships with labor. Ørsted and Eversource are investing in the new energy future to ensure that it can be built in the United States with American workers, an American assembly, and American materials and American ingenuity. From steel to cables to vessels, we're building a domestic supply chain across dozens of states to support this project and all of our offshore endeavors. We've established a model framework with North America's building trade unions to ensure the union labor will build this next generation of energy infrastructure. And here in New York, we're making significant investments in workers, manufacturing, and infrastructure to make this state the leader in offshore wind. This industry is relatively new in the U.S., but with the right investments now, New York can become the exporter to the rest of the country and even to the world of offshore wind technology, components, expertise, and innovation. And while we know there will be many more offshore wind projects to come as a result of these investments, we're proud to play a historic role today in being part of New York's first offshore wind project. So I know we have a few more speakers and a groundbreaking to get to, so I'll wrap this up, but I can't sit down without making one more really important acknowledgement, and that is that I'm the one who's up here representing Ørsted, but there are many, many people from our company who have worked tirelessly to get us here today. And to our Ørsted team, I want to say thank you all for your efforts to get us here, and now let's go build this wind farm. Next, I want to welcome Joe Nolan from Eversource. In 2019, our two companies came together when we recognized the potential strength of a partnership combining Ørsted's offshore experience with Eversource's onshore transmission experience. We established a 50-50 joint venture to develop offshore wind projects in the Northeast, including South Fork Wind, and Joe and his team have proven valuable partners. Thanks, Joe. I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, New York. I'll tell you, you're very, very nice to a Boston Bruins and Red Sox fan. I spent a lot of time in New York. We were up at the Port Coyman out of Albany, and we've got a big facility up there that we're developing, and I can't tell you how gracious this state has been, and I want to thank the governor, and I want to thank the secretary, but I also want to thank the Biden administration. I always like to tell our investors, and I like to tell all of our investors when I'm out on the street there, what a breath of fresh air this new administration is for wind, and no pun intended. It's been amazing. We're very, very excited, and I want to thank all of you for coming. You know, this is a historic day. I've spent a lot of time in New York. I've been out here in East Hampton, and we are excited that we're going to be launching or starting construction on this offshore wind. This is going to be a game changer for not only New York, but for the region. And together, you know, this partnership with the state and with labor as well as the community is going to be amazing. It's going to power 70,000 homes, as folks have said before, and it's going to bring a clean, renewable resource here to this region. You know, from combating climate change to creating good-paying jobs to growing domestic supply chain, together our work will bring significant benefits to New York. I couldn't be prouder of all the years of careful planning that have gone into this project. You know, our shared vision of a cleaner future, one powered by an unlimited supply of renewable energy, is now becoming a reality. In less than 2 short years, South Fork Wind will provide enough energy for the 70,000 homes in this area and in New York. We're going to reduce emissions by 6 million tons. But as New Yorkers know, offshore wind also has tremendous potential to create jobs in industries of the future as well. Already, South Fork Wind is delivering on this promise, creating 500 good-paying jobs throughout the Northeast, including more than 225 direct jobs right here in New York. And with construction underway, with Hoagland Energy, a local Long Island company, to build our transmission system, we're very, very proud. And as Bill Hoagland likes to say, we are going to source everything from breakfast sandwiches to concrete locally. You know, and we're just getting started. South Fork has always been a gateway to clean energy opportunity, and we're looking forward to other parts of Long Island and New York that will soon experience enormous benefits of the work that we have begun with this project as the state's offshore wind industry emerges. And yet, we wouldn't be standing here today without the tremendous leadership and unwavering dedication of our president, President Biden. I also want to recognize the Director of Bureau and Ocean Management, who we've talked about before, Amanda Lefton, who's been a tireless advocate, along with Doreen Harris, the CEO of LIPA, Tom Falcone, as well as Peter Van Schorp from East Hampton, who's been a tireless advocate, all of them from the start of this project, and I want to thank them very, very much for everything. And although there's still a long way to go on this continued fight for climate change, it's a great economic opportunity with great partners that I know will allow us to succeed for a better world and for our future generations' future health and safety. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Once again, thank you all who have worked so hard to make today possible. Now let's get to work. And it's with my pleasure that I introduce to you Julie Ty, the president of the New York League of Conservation Voters. As you may know, Julie has been a tireless champion of this project as well and for renewable energy. So thank you. Take it away, Julie.
Good morning. First, I'm going to say thank you, Governor, for having a podium that's more appropriate for women. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. And I make comments a lot about this, so thank you very much for not having plastic water bottles here. Much appreciated. Good morning. I'm Julie Ty. I'm president of the New York League of Conservation Voters. I'm so excited to be here to celebrate South Fork Wind, as we all have heard many times, New York's first offshore wind project. This project is an important step forward to power New York's green energy, green job revolution. So congratulations to Ørsted and Eversource for finally getting to the finish line, because there were many times I was not sure we were going to get here, most especially last year. Climate change is an existential crisis that we in New York know is threatening our communities, our friends, our neighbors, and our neighborhoods. We felt its devastating impacts with Sandy, with Henri, and then Ida just very recently. And it's beyond time for us to move from talking about climate change to taking action to stop its march. We've set bold goals to move to a net zero emissions economy, and as we electrify our transportation and our buildings, we need a clean grid to realize those goals. And today we are doing just that, moving from concept to action with this groundbreaking of South Fork Wind. We know that we have a lot of people here who have helped to make this a reality, and I want to recognize all of those folks because it has not been easy. We've had government, we've had environmental, we've had civic, we have labor, we have the business community truly coming together. And for those of you who know us, that does not happen all that often, but it is happening much, much, much more frequently. So first, Governor Hochul, I want to thank you for championing clean energy from your first days as governor, for putting your money where your mouth is in your budget and investing in the environment and the future of New York, and for ensuring the first of what we hope will be many wind projects coming to fruition. To Doreen Harris and her team at NYSERDA who work on clean energy every single day. I want to thank Secretary of Interior Deb Haaland for your leadership, for your collaboration, for your support, and for President Biden taking a whole-of-government approach to tackling our energy future. I want to make sure that you're prioritizing, you have been, environmental justice and a just transition. To my friend, Amanda Lefton, who is fearlessly leading the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and delivering on the President's commitment to offshore wind development, and we are super excited to put Doreen to work with all those new leases you're about to approve later this month. So thank you very much, Amanda. And I would be remiss if I did not mention we are all working tirelessly to get Build Back Better done so the rest of the country can realize the clean energy future New York is leading the path on. And thank you, of course, to the town supervisor for all you're doing here in East Hampton. But I cannot say enough about the fact that we at NYLCV are playing a small role of a much bigger group of organizations that is helping to lead a coalition to make this all a reality, and that's WindWorks Long Island. My partner, who was so excited when I took over at NYLCV that it was another woman staying in the job, Adrian Esposito, and Citizens Campaign for the Environment. Adrian is a champion and a voice for all of the policies we care about. We've had local help here with Wind and Judith Hope and Kate Rogers. For the team at the Long Island Federation of Labor, Climate Jobs New York, Renewable Energy Long Island, the New York Offshore Wind Alliance, and our former executive director, Joe Martens, and Fred Zockman, who has taken over. We're very excited about that. Sierra Club, there's dozens of others of groups that are working to help make sure that we are moving from talking about things and actually getting projects done. So today, I think the entire WindWorks Coalition shares in the victory for Long Island and for clean energy. We have a long way to go to meet the goals of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, but major investments like this, combined with the leadership and commitment of the state and the Biden administration, are setting us on the course for a clean energy revolution. So congratulations again to Ørsted and Eversource. We look forward to seeing the South Fork project be constructed and put into operation, and we stand ready to help Sunrise Wind get there next. So thank you very much, and I'm proud to introduce our partner in labor, Maddie Arisech of the NASA Suffolk Building and Construction Trades. There we go. Maddie.
Greetings, everyone. So my name is Matthew Arisech, President of the Building and Construction Trades Council for Nassau and Suffolk Counties. You've heard a wide array of what this means to Long Island, what it means to everybody who lives here, what it means to the economy, what it means to local businesses. What you haven't heard yet is what it means to local labor. I say that because this is the first time that we have the opportunity to build all of these wind farms under a project labor agreement. The opportunity that we have when we have these conversations, because we have a seat at the table. When we get that seat at the table, the good thing is we've never had any pushback. And for that, I thank Governor Hochul, I thank Ørsted for all of their commitment and their partnership to make sure that labor standards are inherent in everything we do, whether we're project labor agreements or even using local agreements. It proves that they understand that it takes an awful lot of money to live on Long Island, and they don't want to cheapen the process, and they want to create the good jobs they're supposed to have, with benefits, with retirement communities, so that everybody can go ahead and live here instead of being chased away. We are now on a new model, and that model is to go to the zero carbon footprint. I have a unique perspective on this. I say that because I come from a third generation of union members who actually, we were green before it was termed green technology. And that's what makes the passion for me that much more important. We see that now there's wind, there's solar, there's hydroelectric, and there's also more advancement for new technology going forward. When you heard earlier in the conversation where Governor Hochul said that, I talk a lot, I will tell you that she has a standing appointment with an ear doctor every Friday. Because every time we talk, I always go ahead and say what's on my mind. But what's more important is She's a listener. And that's what makes the difference in making everything work. I want to thank a lot of people. And those a lot of people, you've heard a lot of the names already here. But I want to thank the other people that helped get this all done. I will tell you that through this whole process, I probably went through 2 or 3 pairs of shoes with all the meetings, to making sure we go to community boards, town halls, etc., to make sure that we get everybody involved. That's the difference, is because we took it from the beginning to say it has to be for everyone. And those opportunities are for everyone as well. The building trade sees it from that perspective as well, to make sure that those opportunities to get these jobs are available for everyone. And I say that because we're going to target areas where you have impoverished communities, black and brown communities, and try to go ahead and encourage them to see that we can get them the opportunities not that they want, they deserve. That's right, they deserve. And that's where the other partnership we have is so strong, because that's all they want. They have gone and said to the building trades, we'll give you whatever you want. We'll give you everything you need to make this happen. We want one thing. We want inclusion, and we want to make sure this is for everybody. So on behalf of the 65,000 in Nassau and Suffolk counties, as well as all the other labor organizations throughout Long Island and the state, thank you, Governor Hochul. Thank you, Mr. Sohit. Thank you, Madam Secretary. And thank you to my partners as well. So this is where I close the program. If I was a sheriff, I'd be deputizing people. But because I'm in the building trades, I'm going to organize them and tell them they got to grab a shovel because it's time to dig the dirt. Okay. Thank you.